Yo, what's good, y'all? You dub back here again, here in 2019. Let's get it. Bringing y'all more free, fresh, new content. Now, this is not an old, fresh video type, but y'all have not heard Wonder's take on this nonsense, alright? The terrible arguments for why MJ is the greatest of all time, is the GOAT, alright? Now, in all fairness, complete objectivity here, I do have Michael Jordan as the greatest player of all time, slightly above LeBron King James. LeBron can still get him. There's so many Jordan apologists, Skip Bayless leading the fan club, that just it's over. Don't even, no, it's not over. That's not how the greatest conversation works. Greatest conversation is more complicated than that. It's more nuanced than that. And if you do as what these Jordan apologists do with these terrible ass arguments, even though there's clear holes and clear things you can shoot back and review, other people, I'll say that. Now, LeBron, in all fairness, I've said this time and time again. LeBron wins one in LA. I said this well before he went to LA. I said because the third team in LA was hearing reports. I'm like, oh, that makes sense, especially for that franchise to raise them up. What he's done for three franchises, he's the GOAT, bro. And add on to the stats and his other achievements or whatever, he's the GOAT. You know what? He's 3-6 in the finals. Yeah, and you can excuse at least half of those losses. Casually excuse them. Jordan did not face the odds against him that LeBron did in the finals overall. He didn't. Stop it. Jordan normally had the favorite teams, but that's a whole other Jordan LeBron debate. But when you have other people saying, well, I'll get into other things, right? Because they inherently go along with these arguments. But let's go through this and see. You can come at me at the end of the video, but please just listen to my arguments because y'all know how I get down with this. Just listen to what I have to say before you come at me. And if you use any of these trash ass arguments, please stop. I'm looking to wash and cleanse like I'm a Shinigami out here. Put straight bleach on there. Yes, and pun was intended, excuse me. The first argument I'll bring up is the ring argument. I'm so sick and tired of hearing this nonsense. Ring argument is always trash. Like I just dropped in my Brady video. Why Brady ain't the GOAT. Tom Brady ain't the GOAT. The only time when you say dominance, Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps, and how dominant they were compared to everybody else, they're just better than everybody else. Now you have an argument. Don't take me rings, especially in MJ's case. Tom Brady, at least you like, well, he got more than anybody else with the quarterback, so here you go. Okay, you can add that on as a one to his greatest. You can add on, I suppose, the 6-0 in the finals. Show. But don't come out here, that's your main argument, like it's bulletproof. No, it ain't. That's trash. Here's why it's trash. Number one, the winningest player, who actually Tom Brady is this guy in the NFL. It is Bill Russell. Nobody says Bill Russell is the greatest of all time. This is the point I bring up, and this scars people head turning and skirts, head scratching. They're like, oh, you know what? You got a point here. Bill Russell got 11 of them things. He got more than your hands, son. Do I need to bring up other players who got more than MJ? 11 of those things. I got Bill Russell rated as the 5th greatest player of all time, by the way. But I don't have him as the GOAT. Just because you win don't make you the GOAT. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of pieces that got to work. Allen Iverson, I have the 6th greatest player, but he has no rings. Why? Because there's a hell of a lot more to being the GOAT. Iconic stuff you did, the way you impacted the game and all that jazz. The thing is, here's what the full nail in the coffin as to why that ring argument is trash. I'll get to that in a second. But let's look at other people in the GOAT conversation. LeBron got 3 of them things. Let me go to my top 10. Number 10, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He got 6 of those things. Number 9, Larry Legend Bird. He got 3 of them things. You go with the big fundamentalist Tim Duncan. He got 5. The Black Mamba Kobe Bryant got 5. I mentioned AI. He got none. But there's a reason why AI got none. He didn't really usually have the talent to even win. He had maybe 2 years where he had true contenders, and he was the first player to ever carry a team solo dolo to the finals. And yes, I know he had defenders and he had help, but let's be honest, it was the AI show offensively. Everybody named Muhammad knows it. LeBron's done it twice. Just saying. Oh, you coming in at the fifth? Who I have? Bill Russell got 11 of them things. The fourth, I got Shaq, and Shaq got 4 of them things. You go into Irvin Magic Johnson. Magic's got 5. He's 5-4 record. Nobody disparages Magic's record, even though he's a little over 500. He still got the 9 in him. You come to LeBron. He 3-6, but we know what he had to endure. And you come to MJ 6-0 in the finals, 2 3-peats. But we're not going to talk about all them times he went out in the first rounds but he had to go through the struggle, and LeBron didn't. LeBron just happened to lose in the finals. Yeah, he's been out of the playoffs, but LeBron also has a longer career than MJ had. MJ also retired twice. Just saying, let's put all the facts on the table. Why the ring argument is so booty and trash, absolute garbage, right? Robert Horry, Big Shot Bob. And for those you don't know, Robert Horry got 7. Nobody brings up Robert Horry. And that's in the modern era. As far as I know, Robert Horry has the most. Big Shot Bob has the most rings in this modern era of basketball. Nobody brings him up as the greatest. Why? Because there's more to it than that. I believe he won 3. I believe it was H-Town during the Dreams Houston Rockets team with Clyde and all them. Kennedy Jet. I believe it was with the Dynasty Lakers, and I believe it was with the Spurs. Duncan Spurs, right? So Big Shot Bob just kills that argument. He puts it down like he's like, it's no argument, bro. I got 7 of them things. I got more than MJ does. That make me the greatest? No, that's not how this works. Moving on to the second argument I have, that argument, the stats argument. Show me one stat that Jordan is the greatest in. Oh, he's got all these phenomenal stats, right? He does. But show me one where he's the greatest at. It's not the greatest in points. That would be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Last time when I checked, I believe Kobe has more than him. I forget if LeBron has more than him. I know that the mailman, who is also in his era, Jordan's era, has more than him, right? Yes, and what about rebounding? Anywhere near the top? Don't believe so. Oh, assists! He was a guard, right? Shooting guard, but he's still a guard. Nowhere near the top. Nowhere near, I believe, Mark Jackson. Nowhere near LeBron. LeBron, who's a forward. Nowhere near John Stockton. None of that. Steals, blocks. He the leader in anything? He got all these stats, but nowhere near the top. So the stats argument is bunk. Stats. Oh, and the ultimate put it to nail in the coffin. The all-time stat man himself, Wilt Chamberlain. Oh, by the way, everybody. Oh, Jordan, 37. He would average 40, which I don't believe. I can make a whole separate video why Jordan would not average 40 in this era. I mean, hell, you have James Harden average 36. LeBron, KD never come close. Steph has never come close to averaging. He wouldn't want to, and none need to average damn 40, really 50 points is what they really, really say. But, even 40 points, maybe a season, maybe at best, maybe. That's a maybe a season. Even, more possessions open, maybe he would average 40, maybe. But that means he would have to light it up on a number of levels. We watched James Harden drop 50, 60-point games, still only average around the same as MJ. But dog, Wilt averaged 50. Wilt grabbed 100 points. Wilt was the man when it came to stats. The stats man was Wilt. Oh, and what about Jordan? Oh, never averaged a triple-double. Did he ever average a double-double? I'm just saying. Don't use a stat argument when you talking about his airness. Michael Jordan. Don't do that with MJ. All right. Moving on to the next terrible distress finals record. He was 69. This 69. That's all they need to be. Again, kind of going back. We're not going to rehash totally, but Bill Russell. Bill Russell, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I guess those prehistoric players don't count. I guess we don't care about that. I guess we don't care about the fact of them getting booted out, them losing to Orlando. Him losing to the Celtics. No, we ain't gonna no none of that matters. Okay, the bad boys Pistons. No, the whole epic about having to overcome. No, no. Oh, what about his Washington Wizard days? Yep, yep. Let's ignore all of that. Let's ignore all that. I guess he only played 6 seasons. That's it. He only played 6 seasons. He didn't play 15 seasons. Okay. Okay. Moving on, because we don't need to talk much on that. That's just stupid. It's just stupid right there. Um, yeah. What about the awards argument? Awards. He got a bunch of them. Um, no, 6 Finals MVPs. Right on, right on, right on. Yeah, that's legit. That's legit. Uh, Defensive Players of the Year. Right on, right on. Right, that's legit. MVPs. I was it 6? I'm trying to remember. I know Kareem got 6 of them things if I'm not mistaken. Got 6 of them things. Uh, I don't think Jordan. I don't believe Jordan had the most ever defensive players of the year. 10 scoring titles. Okay, okay, okay. How about players who don't focus necessarily on scoring? Still give him credit for the 10 scoring titles, but then again, he doesn't even have the most points ever. He had teammates to focus on more so on the rebound and focus more so on the assist, focus more so on these things. I'm not saying he did not contribute. All right. But don't bring me up awards argument when other players in a lot of this have other things. The one you can say is the scoring titles. Also, the defensive player of the year is somewhat like it's questionable with some of these determinations on defensive player of the year. I often agree, but there are some people who deserve defensive player of the year in certain seasons and didn't get it. LeBron should have had one year. Just saying, he should have had one, but he didn't get it. Okay, okay. What do you do about that? You know what I'm saying? Let's go to another one. How about the era argument? Such a tough era. Oh, mm, such a tough era. Now, how are we gonna break this down? It was so physical. Really, really. Jordan went to the line a bunch of everybody's trying to talk about the chef. James Harden go to the line. Jordan went to the line a hell of a lot. Go back and watch the games. Oh, it was physical. But was it as physical as the 60s? Was it physical as the 80s? He came in, you could say, well, he came in the 80s. He dealt with that physicality, okay. But he dominated in the 90s. He didn't win till the 90s, where it was less physical. 2000, 2000s. You could say the level of competition was as high as at the 2000s. You could say there were greater dynasties that LeBron had to go through, or greater teams that LeBron had to go through. Just saying. There were greater teams that LeBron had to go through. Jordan didn't have Jordan in the finals never faced a Warriors team. All right. His team, his Bulls teams would have probably got smashed early. Like, did he face the Spurs team early on in his career? Oh no, it took him was it 7 years to reach the finals? Like, LeBron was there year 4. What was the 90s? They had some ballers, but they also had some not as great athletes. LeBron would have been eating too. KD would have been eating. Steph would have been eating. All these players we see today would have been eating. Oh, they wouldn't survive in the physical. Really? You had John Stockton. No disrespect to the legendary passer, but my God, bro, the man was skinnier than Steve Nash. What do you mean they wouldn't have survived? LeBron is 6'8", 6'9", 250, 260. A freight train in any era. Giannis would have been eating, son. Steph would have been boogieing on fools and hitting from 3 and eating. KD is 7 feet tall. Melo would have been eating. D-Wade would have ate. Like, what are we talking about right here? Westbrook would still be eating. Like, all the Chef Harden would be cooking, fam. Who's stopping that step back? A few players might have contended, but on a nightly basis, you would have still see Chef Harden cooking folk. Like, stop with this era argument. You know, again, the 90s wasn't the most physical era. The 80s, there was physicality and whatever. Jordan had to get stronger and whatever. Wasn't the most talented era either. Wasn't most athletic era. Most athletic era probably goes to the 2010s. The toughest era with the 2010s. Physical, take your pick, the 80s, the 60s. Jordan didn't have any competitive advantage of any of these eras. These nostalgic fanboys need to stop. And trust me, we're going to get into that in a second. Next up is the mythical argument. Now you can like wonder, doesn't a myth mean a story? Yeah, but here's the thing. Jordan, he's mythical. Oh my gosh. It's larger than life. He flew through the air. Yes, he did. But we've also had other Skywalkers. Folks act like Jordan never did anything wrong, like he never had a bad game, like he never got outplayed. It's just not true. Some players who were not part of what we love about Jordan is that he came back like a true killer, like a true champion, and he smoked folks, he torched folks. He had the legacy moments. Larry Bird, I love the quote by the way. You know, where God's real and he disguised and he played in sneakers when he dropped 63 in the garden and still lost. Jordan has these mythical moments. He had things that he did. But here's the thing. People, let the myth delude them to where he's so if you want to go with the mythical argument, you can go with Will. You can go with Kareem. You can go with Magic. You can go with AI. You can go with LeBron. You can go with a plethora of players. If we're doing the mythical argument, the story argument, he's got the best story as to why he's the greatest. There are multiple players. Kobe has a mythical story. Like there's a lot of players in NBA history. Pistol Pete Maravich has a mythical story. If you want to go the story, the narrative route, don't try that with MJ. That's not going to work either. Finally, the nostalgia argument. So many people that I ever saw, that I ever saw, that I ever saw 50 or such. What about these old times? What about the big old Oscar Robinson? What about George Iceman Gervin? What about Walter Still? What about Bill Russell? What about George Mikan? What about, Bob Cousy? What about a lot of legends you can throw up? Pistol Pete Maravich. What about them? Some can say, well, they just don't matter. They didn't play basketball. NBA hasn't been going for 70 years. What about the legends before Jordan? What about the legend? What about the others 80s players? I guess none of that matters. And then after Jordan, even though I don't have Kobe greater, but if someone wants to make the argument for Kobe, I ain't mad at him. We can't have that discussion. If someone wants to make the argument for LeBron, I ain't mad at it, bro. Someone thought it's blasphemy that some could say, James Harden's a greater offensive talent than Michael Jordan. Oh my! It's not an outrageous argument. You may not agree. Now, I got Jordan as number one. As far as in perimeter scores, I got Jordan number one. Close second, I got KD. I got Melo up there. You see what I'm saying? Chef Harden's up there. I believe he's in my top five. It's not outrageous. Somebody after Jordan could possibly be better than Jordan in some area. Somebody after Jordan or after Pippen can possibly be better defender perimeter. If you make an argument that Draymond or Kawhi are better, I don't necessarily think they are, but they're in the ballpark of discussion. Are they better than Scottie Pippen? Are they better than Dennis Rodman? They're in that discussion. Kawhi has proven himself. I was hesitant, but Kawhi has proven himself. What about a guy like Tayshaun Prince? What about a guy like Shane Battier, Tony Allen? As far as in perimeter defenders, what about them? What about a Mark Gasol as a defender? What about these cats of later eras? What about them? Bruce Bowen. What about him? It gets ridiculous. So you could say, well, Wonder, coming to a conclusion. You said you have MJ as the greatest. I do. Absolutely. I've had MJ as the greatest for years upon years. Practically since I knew about basketball. And the more knowledge I gain, I still have him as the greatest so far. So far. Can he be replaced? Absolutely. In fact, I'll eventually do a video about how an irrefutable greatest of all time argument could be if a player was able to attain some things. But why do you have MJ? Icon. No one's more iconic than MJ. LeBron's close. Magic was close. You can see 2 and 3. Okay. Shaq, uh, Bill Russell, AI, Kobe, and the list goes like the order that I have them. That's how iconic a lot of these players are. Okay, how they impacted and changed the game. Now, there's been a lot of changes, but MJ literally changed like he changed how the game of basketball was played. Steph, you could say, well, Steph changed how, yes and no. The game was already evolving and Steph kind of accelerated it. But MJ, you know, freakish athletes. Like normally we had the freakish athletes, they were the big men. But the freakish athlete of the wing player, we saw the impact immediately with Kobe Bryant. We did not see the impact immediately with big men. Big men, you were big. But with wings, you had people more that size. MJ was really your average height for your shooting guard, or close to average, close to average build. But he was a freak of nature in a way that was attainable for a lot of people. They could relate, like Mike. With a lot of people, we're not 7 footers, we're not 300 pound, a Joel Embiid body type. But a lot of us are much closer to a MJ or AI. You see what I'm saying? So we're like, damn, they can do those moves. I can do those moves too. See what I'm saying? Uh, through the hard work, it's because of a combination of things. He ranks so high in so many aspects that's part of the reason I have him as the greatest, because he does so many things. He did so many things so well. That's part of the reason I have him as the greatest, and that's the reason I have a lot of people like a Muhammad Ali in boxing. Part of the reason he's the greatest of all time is because he hit the mark in so many high levels and so many well. He may or not peak. Now Muhammad Ali did peak more, you know, but you looked at MJ. Some of that is he did not, play as many years, so some of his stats aren't as numerous. I won't say inflated, but as numerous. So there's some of that. Also, I recognize that he was more so playing in a system. So he didn't get necessarily some of the plays. Like LeBron has the ball in his hands more. James Harden has the ball in his hands more. So of course they get more cracks at certain offensive stuff. So I understand that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean there's other reasons I can argue as to why he's actually the greatest, but they're based on his play, his impact on the game, what he brought to the table. See what I'm saying? Who he was. People talk about that killer instinct. That's not just mythical. That is literally a part of his story, his impact on basketball history. When you talk about the greatest of all time, you talk about legends, Hall of Famers. What did you do? As some say, I'm gonna finish it up with this. Could they write the story of basketball without you? Could they write the story of football if it's like tennis, golf, boxing, uh, whatever that you do? Could they write the story of whatever the activity is without you? If they can't, then that means you had the impact. And then now we're going, what was your impact? Jordan thus far has had the greatest impact, but the story's still written. It's not a closed book. And if you act like it's a closed book, you're just being obtuse, you're being obstinate, and you're not reading. Don't stop reading, my friends. Unexpected Wonder, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts on this discussion. Tell me your thoughts on these terrible arguments. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Peace.